Boxing,
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
So Dazn offers a new premium subscription called Dazn Ultimate in the UK, which bundles multiple pay-per-view events into the subscription and is priced at £24.99 per month or £249.99 per year starting December the 1st, 2025. For other regions, you may need to buy standard monthly or annual subscriptions and purchase individual pay-per-view events separately. So here's the thing. You guys are arguing about Dana and whatever else you're arguing about. But the facts are, there are no good guys. There are no bad guys. They're all the same.
Your Excellency, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Turkey can't lose. That's why he retracted on what he said about no more pay-per-views starting with Benavidez versus Yard. He went back on his word because Turkey and Dazn have no competition from anywhere else putting on boxing. There's no competition from nowhere. Showtime gone, ESPN gone, HBO gone. Over here, TNT, Sky, they've gone. Ben Shalom gets a couple of dates on BBC. There's no competition from anywhere.
There is no competition.
Because they're all on his dick.
They can literally do what they want. I'm looking at my DAZN account, and if I pay up this new subscription fee before Saturday, they're going to include Ben and Eubank in the deal, so I won't have to pay pay-per-view for it. So that's what Turkey meant. No pay-per-views from November the 22nd, but let's say November the 15th, as long as you buy the subscription beforehand.
You think you're pretty smart. Do you know why we make out so well? Why no one touches us?
So people can complain that the vast majority of the 12 pay-per-views that they're going to bundle into the subscription package are basically fights that would have been part of the subscription previously. But there's no competition from anywhere to challenge them for a more competitive rate for the punter. It's a monopoly. And who's going to be behind these two juggernauts, the TKO platform and DAZN?
Your Excellency, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's a monopoly. Turkey DAZN, Turkey Dana, the TKO group on Paramount have UFC, WWE, I believe. It's a monopoly. Because the only pay-per-views that are going to be worth the subscription price increase are the ones Turkey puts on. Look at the undercard of Parker versus Wardley. It was trash. And let's keep it real. Even some of Turkey's pay-per-views, a lot of them ain't worth £25. And then all of a sudden, non-Turkey pay-per-views became £25. It became the norm. And then they flooded the market. And when everybody started complaining, then they gave you the alternative. Buy the bundled package to lock you in for the year. They're basically doing what they want because there is no competition.
Zero.
The way a lot of people was just pointing the finger at Dana to do all the destruction. And now everybody's looking at DAZN sideways. 1 minute it's Dana and now it's DAZN. Just looks like power attracts power to me. The AJ, Fury, Canelo, Crawford, Usyk purses. I'm not going to say they're a thing of the past, but they're going to be more difficult for the next generation of boxers to get. They're not getting rid of pay-per-view totally in certain regions. You'll still have to buy the pay-per-views individually, probably at a lower subscription rate than the bundle package. So basically, Turkey is giving you both your options. You can go for the lower tier subscription with Dana, no pay-per-view, or you can buy your bundle package at a higher cost and watch world title fights. This is the result of them having no opposition to challenge the rates they want to charge us. And there's no opposition from America.
There's no arguing that boxing is in any place but the toilet in the United States. Beyond argument.
So now we're getting these debates. Paramount and TKO are a better option over DAZN.
We're all in the same gang.
They're all in the same gang. When will you learn? You can either purchase both or one or the other. If one performs over the other, the one that's underperforming will exit the game, and Turkey will still be in charge of the game with the remaining platform. If Turkey removes himself from Dazn, it's almost certainly curtains for Dazn and boxing. Dazn are not going to stack out the cards like Turkey has done, like the card coming up when Yard takes on Benavides without that Turkey money. And when they can't do that and the subs go down, what are they going to do? Reduce the price of the subscription? Nah, they're gone. They're out.
Jump up out, but I'll be back.
They'll either dissolve the company or turn their attention to other sports.
Tell me a business or sport that has generated trillions of dollars in revenue, and at the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing there.
Trillions of dollars, like Dana says, generated in boxing over how many 100 years? And they still haven't unionized the sport for the boxers. The boxers don't need the Muhammad Ali Act. They need unions. As Anthony Mackin said, there's no sport that should be operating in 2025 that doesn't have a union. But we move on. Eddie Hearn laughed at Dana White's Zuffa belt. And yeah, it is a bit of a joke, isn't it? The Zuffa belt. But really and truly, the joke was on Eddie when he said he's going to stick to real boxing with the sanctioning belts. People want to fight for the belts that Mayweather fought for. Well, if the Mayweather money ain't there no more, let's see how appealing fighting for green belts really is for the boxers.
And I'm not interested in a fake belt. I'm not interested in changing the Muhammad Ali Act. I want to see fighters like Boots, who I believe can go down as generational greats, like Hagler, like Hearns, like Whittaker, like all these great fighters. He is of the same ability. Belts matter.
Eddie is wonderful in front of a camera. So,
the best, I would say. I think he's the best promoter in combat sports.
Not a very bright guy.
So what are you talking about? Come on.
Not, I mean, he's self-admittedly
standing at the dais.
No, he is as facile with a microphone as anyone I've ever seen.
Right.
In the P.T. Barnum-esque sense of promoting.
That's what I mean.
He's brilliant. If that's what you mean,
100%.
we agree.
I'm not talking
no,
about.
we agree.
I'm talking about on the dais.
But here's why I'm saying that. But by the way, Eddie loves to say that himself. He loves to say, there's nothing like, I'm not a really smart guy. I love this shit and this is what I do. He's not really lying about that part of it either. Because if he was a really smart guy, he would understand that doubling down on the WBA and the WBC and the WBO and the IBF, doubling down on interim belts and regular belts and super belts, doubling down on corrupt judging, doubling down on the existing system ain't going to make him competitive with Dana. And more importantly, ain't going to make him competitive with the people that Dana works for. Because now you're into some very sophisticated high-end business. You got Nick Khan there, and then you have Shapiro there. You got a whole giant group of like very smart people with the help of Turkey's money. Can we do what we did in UFC? Can we do what Vince did in WWE?
Mark Shapiro, Nick Khan, Dana White. The truth is Dana is better than Eddie. Not a better boxing promoter, but a better combat sports promoter. That's why Eddie said he wanted to be like the UFC. He's better than Eddie. He's better than Frank Warren. Frank Warren already had his own shit with Box Nation. And it collapsed after a couple of years. Frank's business was all up on Company House. Frank was in the doghouse until Turkey came along, if we keep it real. Apart from Tyson Fury, keeping him afloat. Now Eddie and Frank are strutting around like the dog's bollocks. But as Simon Jordan points out,
it's Simon Jordan and it's Eddie Hearn, the man at the top of Matchroom Boxing, live with us in studio this morning. Many of you getting in touch, of course. We're talking about the impact that this man, Turki Al Sheikh, the man at the top of Saudi boxing, has had on world boxing, on Eddie, on Matchroom, on Frank Warren, on Queensberry. There's Rob. Why do we need promoters or world title belt organisation? Let Turkey run boxing and deal with the TV networks, as I don't see the need for promoters or belts, and them simply getting a cut of the profits. You've got a wry smile on your face, Mr. Jordan.
That's a question for young Eddie over there. I mean, I smile wryly when he talks about doing it for the good of boxing, because if it was done for the good of boxing, they'd have done it before. Ultimately, the finances in the room now that have changed the direction of travel, and that's business. Nothing wrong with that. That's the real world.
If we look at Frank and Eddie, why did it take Turki Al Sheikh to put them together, to work together, to put on these stacked cards? Dana White didn't need to be told he has to do A, B, C, and D to build the $11 billion empire. Dana has better people working, this Mark Shapiro and Nick Khan, than Frank Smith or Frank Warren and his boys George and whatnot. Now boxing is the better product, so Frank and Eddie have put on the more historical events. But given what Dana has had to work with, and I'm not talking about him ripping off fighters or being unpopular. I'm just talking about $11 billion business with an infrastructure that boxing hasn't had. That's why he got the gig. How popular he is and him ripping off fighters is two different discussions. I only have a short time to do the video. I can't break down every emotion to suit everybody listening. We're talking about the business of boxing, which is still run like we're in the 1950s. Out of Frank Warren, Eddie, and Dana, Dana is the only one Turkey can really relate to because of the money the UFC has generated, the way it's run compared to boxing promotions. Erickson Lubin, for my money on Saturday, he looked a little scared of Virgil Ortiz. He looked a little scared and got pummeled in two. Virgil is a very good fighter. Eddie and Boots turned up to Texas. Boxing fans, maybe naively, hoping for an announcement, only to find that Virg and his manager are looking to fight Errol Spence, who hasn't fought for near on 3 years. And the last time we saw Errol, it looked like Crawford was trying to teach him how to ice skate in that ring. Eddie Hearn is on DAZN. Oscar De La Hoya is on DAZN. The two fighters both fight on DAZN. Should be easy to make. No, there's still a Cold War going on. They may be more civil and polite to each other, but we're stuck at square one. When Turkey does deals, let's say for instance, Riyadh season, we're going to take the reins on Boots versus Virgil. Turkey would take Oscar and Virgil to have a conversation about the deal, and take Eddie and Boots separately to have a conversation about the deal they're going to do for them. And the fight will be announced. In boxing, you can't do that. If one makes an offer, the person who receives the offer is going to be asking, well, what's your guy getting? Turkey eliminates that. These boxing promoters, because they're not paying enough, I guess, have not managed to get over that hump. On the same week, DAZN introduced the price increase with the new subscription. You've got your two promoters in the same venue not being able to seal the deal post-fight Virgil versus Lubin. Not being able to seal the deal. Now, if Turkey has to come in and save the day to put that fight on, is Simon Jordan wrong that there is no real use for the promoters? Is this how you're advertising the bundle to be sold? You've got two of your junior middleweights talking about, well, I can go that way and I can go that way. And that's why Dana doesn't want to work with the other promoters, no interest in working with the sanctioning bodies who don't invest a penny into the events that they take sanctioning fees for, flood the market with a whole load of other belts that they don't seem to be too keen to get the title holders of them belts to unify with the other sanctioning body title holders. It's a mess. I'll tell you what, right? I'm not in the mood for Boots is ducking Virgil, Virgil is ducking Boots. I am not in the mood for it. Got too many videos I want to edit, too much topics I want to cover. I couldn't care less. The facts are, DAZN knew Eddie and Boots were heading to Texas to watch that event, and the fans were expecting a positive announcement that the fight is going to happen. DAZN should have checked in with Oscar and Eddie on what the interaction would have been between the Matchroom parties and the Golden Boy parties, so we didn't end up what we ended up with post-fight. The sport of boxing is run unprofessionally. So I've been supporting Dalton Smith from a prospect to a British champion to a European champion. Now he's going to challenge Sabral Matthias for that WBC 140-pound title. Sabral Matthias' people outbid Matchroom, which was always likely considering their man was getting the higher end of the split. Now Eddie put up a substantial bid. I haven't got the figures here. Matthias' people have ended up with that fight that they've overpaid for, and now they're going to put it on pay-per-view. Now, say what you want. I don't believe if Eddie had won the bid, they were going to put Dalton Smith versus Matthias on pay-per-view. I think down the line, they would have justified putting Dalton Smith on pay-per-view, but not this fight here. So that's Dalton Smith off the DAZN grid. Same with Jaya Patel, off the DAZN grid when he fights Chinkara, he's voluntary. For whatever reason, Tasman Fighters promotion want to put it on pay-per-view from Australia. So now, after watching the development of Dalton Smith and Jaya Patel on DAZN, we don't get to see their upcoming fights. Surely with all the subscription fee we're paying, DAZN shouldn't lose a purse bid. At no stage, even if they've got to overpay the opposing fighter, getting the higher end of the split. So now we're having to pay for pay-per-views as part of our subscription, but at the same time, they can't even guarantee us what should be subscription-based content, which we want to see. And we're probably not going to want all the pay-per-views that they're going to include in the bundle. So quality control is an issue. Haven't seen Katie Taylor on the Dazn card for a minute for the same reason. Dazn should pay for our pay-per-view purchase of Opataya versus Chinkara and Sabraz versus Smith. They should pay. Every time a Golden Boy, every time a Matchroom, a Queensbury fighter loses a purse bid and it goes to a promoter who's off the grid, they should pay my and your pay-per-view purchases from that promoter and that broadcaster who won the bid. Yeah. Eddie Hearn keeps banging on about Anthony Joshua being exclusive to DAZN. Well, isn't Jaya Pataya exclusive to DAZN then? And Dalton Smith and Katie Taylor? What's going on?
Just calm down.